Well, the tables have turned in a span of 2.5 weeks. India versus Australia, which is most likely the fixture for the WTC Final again, is now a distant reality. Once at the top of the table, the recent shambolic whitewash at home against New Zealand has dismantled their fortunes. Now, most likely, either Australia or India will play the WTC Final later in June 2025. India's chances look bleak though. Out of the blue, teams like South Africa, New Zealand and Sri Lanka have smooth sailings in the race for the mace.
For the longest bloody time, every test match fan thought it's going to be the inevitable India-Australia WTC final again. But boy, New Zealand had other plans and that threw the cat amongst the pigeons. So in this one, we'll explain all the WTC scenarios, what India needs to do down under, Sri Lanka, South Africa and the rest of it. Watch this to just get informative about the WTC and the race for the mace.
To begin with, let us have a look at the maximum PCT each of the concerned team can clock. Australia, 76.31%. They have 7 games remaining, 5 at home against India and 2 away versus Sri Lanka. Next up, South Africa, a PCT of 69.44%, 4 matches remaining, 2 at home versus Sri Lanka and 2 at home also against Pakistan. Then India, 69.29% with 5 matches remaining, all 5 away down under against Australia. Sri Lanka also find themselves in that 69 boat, 69.23% to be accurate. 4 matches remaining, 2 against South Africa away and 2 at home against Australia. And finally, New Zealand, 62.28% is what they can reach if they, of course, beat England at home in the 3 test match series.
Based on the current scenarios, India need to pull off something crazy to even consider themselves getting that boarding pass to London in June to play the final. Now, if we actually look at it, right? Unless there's a one-sided result in the BGT, it'll probably be an India-Australia WTC final. Here's what we mean.
Now, if India win the BGT, hypothetically 3-2, and Australia beat Sri Lanka 2-0, then India's PCT is 58.77%, while Australia's is 60.52%. Now, if India win the BGT again 3-2 and Australia draw in Sri Lanka, then India's PCT remains as it is, but Australia's PCT drops to 55.26%. Let's assume another scenario. If India win the BGT 3-1 and Australia beat Sri Lanka 2-0, then India's PCT will be over 60%, while Australia's PCT will be over 57%. Now, if India do the unthinkable and win the BGT 4-1 and Australia still pocket a 2-0 win in Sri Lanka, then India's PCT will be 64% and Australia's PCT, well, above 55%. Another scenario is if India do win the BGT 4-1 but Australia draw to Sri Lanka, then India, of course, have themselves placed in a good position, 64.04%, while Australia's PCT will be exactly 50%. The last couple of scenarios look like this. If India win the BGT hypothetically 3-0 and Australia beat Sri Lanka 2-0, then India's PCT will still be above 62, while Australia's will be above 53. If India win the BGT 5-0, then their PCT will become 69.29%. And in this scenario, Australia's PCT can't go higher than 50% even if they whitewash Sri Lanka. Note, India will have to either win at least 3 BGT tests or win 2 and draw 1 test in order to keep their PCT over 55%. Now, what's more interesting is that Australia can finish with a higher PCT if India win 3-2, given they whitewash Sri Lanka 2-0. Now, that's the scenarios for India and Australia out of the way. Let's quickly have a look at how the other contenders can make it a Lord's next year. South Africa, 61.11%, Sri Lanka, 61.53%, New Zealand, 57.14%. And then if you take it down and look at it further in terms of losing 2 test matches, Sri Lanka, South Africa and New Zealand will just about be above 50% in terms of their PCT. From India and Australia's lens, the favourable results for them to qualify should look like this. England to beat New Zealand at least 2-1, Sri Lanka and South Africa to end 1-1, Pakistan to either draw 1-1 versus South Africa or beat South Africa 2-0, and if the results turn out identically as the above mentioned cases, then India and Australia will still play the WTC final unless it's a one-sided series where either teams win 4-1 or 5-0.
So there's lots to play for. Make no mistake. I know people will say we've beaten Australia in 2018, we've beaten them the last time we went, but this time it's the matter of result and the scoreline. Who knows? It's India's ultimate acid test. I hope this WTC explainer has given you a little bit of insight. Follow for more, and of course, we'll check you out in the next one. I'm off to work because I'm still at home, apparently.